You're listening to Life as a Band Leader with Angela O'Neill and Outrageous 8 Records, where music meets real life and every story swings. From rehearsals to the spotlight, we're sharing the music, the mayhem, and the magic of leading a modern band.
Hi, everybody. My name is Angela O'Neill, and welcome to Life of a Bandleader podcast. It is a new year, and new fun is happening for us, and I'm very happy to welcome my guest, Teryn Re. Thank you for joining me, Teryn.
Thank you for asking. This is super exciting.
It is. It's really, really fun. We were talking about just before we came on that I'm so amazed to, first of all, talk to so many creative, amazing musicians and band leaders. And you are many things. I mean, when I read your bio, you are a woman for all seasons. Um,
Oh.
Let's go back to kind of the beginning. One of the things I love to talk to people about, and I'll tell you the interesting part is this varies quite a bit, is did
Mhm.
you grow up with music? Was there music in your home when you were a kid?
Um, I mean, yes and no. My dad, kind of played guitar, but parents bought me a baby grand piano when I was 5,
Wow.
because they could just tell that I was interested in music, and so I took lessons from 5 until I graduated high school. So music was always like something that was just in me,
Yeah.
um, and never wanted to do anything else. So, yeah. So my parents were always obviously super supportive, and then I started singing, singing like lessons in 6th grade. So I was super thankful. So even though they weren't like musicians, they still uh, were super supportive, and obviously paid I don't know how much money for all of those lessons and
Right.
things.
Yeah, I
So.
don't think that's the case with everybody. I mean, I don't think all
Yeah.
parents are like, ooh, when I think of a stable lifestyle for my kid, I think
Mm-hmm.
music. Um, you know,
Right.
that
Yeah.
isn't really the case in a lot. So why do you think your parents were they just like it was obvious to them that you had a passion for this, do you think? Is that why?
That's a good question. I think that I've always been super focused. So as someone that has taught 5-year-olds piano, it's very rare to find one that can
Hmm,
sit for a half hour and practice and play, let alone practice during the week. And I was just like hyper focused on it. So I think my parents were like,
yeah,
okay, then my sister tried it and she didn't last more than like 2 lessons. So she had to be in something physical, like a sport.
right.
So my parents were just kind of like, okay, we tried it and she likes it, so I guess we'll keep doing that.
And what a success story. There's so many folks who kind of glom onto it as a kid and then they don't
Mm-hmm.
actually continue with it as an adult or whatever. And how great that you're able to use all of that foundation to build where you are today. I was talking to
Mm-hmm.
somebody yesterday who told me a drummer who told me that he only started even playing music or seeing music when he was a teenager. And
Oh, wow.
and I said to him, I think it's amazing. You don't realize, same as you, I started playing guitar when I was in kindergarten, and then I started playing the oboe in third grade, and I played the oboe for 20 years.
Wow.
And I was just like you. I was the kid who I drove my parents absolutely bonkers, rehearsing, right? Like just like I practiced and
Oh, yeah.
practiced. And of course, oboe. My dad would say the elk
Mm-hmm.
are in
Right.
season. It was just the most awful sound from that instrument, and I was just determined to make it sound good. But you take it for granted,
Mm-hmm.
that foundation of reading music when you're younger, helps you so much to build upon as you get older, right?
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
it just made me realize how thankful I am that I started so young when it was so easy for me to learn stuff.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
That
Like
is that is so true. It's one thing I
big.
have to, as like a teacher, it's something I have to remember that not every like music major that comes in is even like that, or especially vocalists, like if they don't play an instrument,
Yeah,
that's even harder.
yeah,
So and I always just have to remind myself like, okay, like there are things that I was lucky enough to already know going into school, and most students are going to school to learn all of that. So
That's right. Or they switched majors from something
yeah.
to music,
Hmm.
because they think music is going to be a stable lifestyle. Again.
Totally. Yeah. Totally.
Well, it's amazing to have you here. I have heard from about you just because I follow you very closely on social media. I love your commentaries, not just about music. Your band sounds amazing, but also just your comments about the music business in general. I find very interesting because it's,
Mm.
we have a band too, an octet, a little mini big band.
Hmm.
Um, and we struggle, I think, from a lot of the same things that you do when dealing with clubs and venues and that kind of stuff
Hmm.
too. But we'll get to that in a little bit. So so you grew up in Laguna Niguel, which is
Uh-huh.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's
Um,
very lucky.
yeah. And then you went to college. Where did you go to college? Did you go to
I
college
went
up there?
to Azusa Pacific
Got it.
University. Yeah. I mainly went honestly because so many friends were going.
Yeah.
I didn't I knew I wanted to do music, but I wasn't like I loved Frank Sinatra growing up and stuff, but I didn't really put two and two together that I could sing jazz. And
Yeah.
so I went because my friends were there and I was like, oh, they have a good music program. And it wasn't until my sophomore year when Kristen Korb became like the commercial voice teacher for the first time. And then she was my teacher for my last 3 years before she moved to Denmark. And that was it. That was when I fell in love with it. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
you can actually do this for like a job. Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, amazing. I mean, it is so often with people that there is a mentor, right? Somebody who is the spark kind of. And now, as you have gone on in life, you now get to be that for kids you teach. And what a miracle
Exactly.
that is that
Yeah.
you get to pay it forward.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me a
Mm-hmm.
little bit about that.
So, one thing I learned. Well, so first of all, when I say I knew I wanted to do music, I had zero idea what that was gonna be. I grew up going to church and like leading worship in church, and APU is a Christian university, so I think part of me was like, oh, maybe I'll be like a worship leader or something. And then Kristen came, and then I was also Kristen's uh like intern for a year. And that's when I learned about all the different things that she does, which, teaching at universities, gigging. I helped her with a lot of her like, Harry Fox stuff for recording an album that year. And so just so many things. And then that's when I was like, oh, and like the importance of your teacher doing what you want to do, or at least providing that example. And it's not bad, but there are a lot of teachers in music schools who don't gig anymore, who don't do things, which is fine.
Right.
But I always felt more connected to teachers who were doing it because then
Hmm.
that made it exciting. Like,
I'm the same. I'm definitely
yeah, it's like,
the same.
oh man, I get to like, so you can do that. So I've been teaching college for, I think, oh gosh, it's been a while. Probably like 12 or 13 years now.
Okay.
And the longer I've taught, the cooler it's been to see students end up doing what they wanted to do. And I think a big part of that is seeing someone like me and other teachers doing that as well. Because then they know, oh, it's actually doable.
Yeah.
Um, Especially, I think a lot of people go to music school and have this idealistic idea that you are only going to do one thing in music.
Mm.
Because they see famous people and they see they see Taylor Swift and they see all this. It's like, yeah, but that's like what 2%, if not less,
Yeah.
of musicians end up doing that. And even people that go on tours, yeah, they might go on a tour for a couple months, but then when they come back, unless they're on retainer, which really doesn't happen anymore,
No.
then they're going to teach, then they're going to do this, that. So that's, for me, was one of the things I felt like so stressed out in school, thinking, oh my gosh, like I need to find like a full time. And I wasn't even really into teaching either.
Yeah.
I wasn't music ed, or honestly wasn't vocal performance either in school. So
Hmm.
I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And then yeah, and so I was just I've been very lucky let's just say that, throughout my life of having people like Kristen Korb, and then I'm sure we'll get there, but in terms of big band, like Joey Sellers and John DeVersa, like people that showed me ways to do that. And I just feel like I'm lucky that I get to do that for my students who
Right.
want to, who love music and want to, and are figuring out their thing, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I've just been very, very lucky up
I
to this
love
point.
that. I love that word lucky. A lot of people object to that word. But it does feel like
Mm.
when so many great choices come your way that there is an element of
Yeah.
luck to it.
Yeah,
Back
I mean, of course, like you're probably going to say, of course, it's like you need to be talented and you worked hard for it. Of course.
yeah,
But as many people I'm sure that you've interviewed and that you probably know personally, so much of it is who you know. And that's luck to me. It's
yeah,
like, yeah, I can be. And of course, yes, being kind, being talented, prepared, all those things are important as well. And yes, I admit that I have done all those things to get to that point. But
right.
I have met, like, like, I've taught at, I want to say, like, probably 10 different colleges up to
Okay.
this point,
Hmm.
and all of those jobs were through someone I know.
Right.
Whether it was someone working there or, oh, I did a gig with this person and they recommended you because I told them we're looking for blah, blah, blah. Like, none of my jobs have just been like, oh, online, there's a job and I'm going to apply.
Right.
No, none of that.
So I guess if it were, kids who were watching this podcast who were like, how do you do this? I would say
Mm.
that word, if you had to put it into one word, is relationships.
Oh, 1,000%, which I like that you use that word more than networking, because I think network is not a bad word, but I think that a lot of people assume it's not sincere or that you're
Yes.
create. But which, so I don't have a problem with the word. I just know a lot of people are weird about it. But I think relationships, that's the best word. That's what it is. Like,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have to be a serious relationship, but it should be a relationship that you're building, based on respect and
Yeah.
talent and all those things. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think those relationships, there's something about the word networking that makes me feel like you're having those relationships
Mm.
transactionally.
Yeah,
And the
that's a
truth of
really
the
good
matter
word.
is, I think it's really important for people to
Mm.
understand that you should garner relationships people just for the sake of learning.
Mm.
And if one of the side
That's
effects
good.
of those relationships is you end up with opportunities to either work
Mm.
with those people or offer help or whatever,
Yeah.
then that is incredible. Oh, speaking of that, remind me to ask you to come sing with the psych band when you want
I
to.
would love that.
I keep
Yeah,
forgetting to ask you, so I'm going to ask you
I
on
would love
the
that.
recording. Okay. Um, so this is an amazing story. I hold in very high esteem my elementary and high school music teacher. So I'm in awe of you. I think that I was a complete band dork. I didn't feel comfortable anywhere personally,
Mm.
but in the band room. I spent almost my entire childhood and high school years in the band room with a lot of other band geeks, like trying every possible instrument.
Of course.
And and I actually wasn't I didn't ever really concentrate on singing, me personally. But the
Mm.
amazing thing about music is like I know a ton of bass players who toured with, Joan Armatrading
Mm.
and whatever, and then play trumpet. I
Yeah,
know a
totally.
ton of people, music is this universal language. You can change instruments, you can go from instruments to vocals, but it's that learning how to read, understanding, basic theory kind of, that is so great. It just
Mm.
opens up a whole new world for you.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay, so I am amazed. So that's the teaching part of your life, which is amazing and inspirational for sure. And I applaud you in the fact that you came up with kind of a plan, which is amazing, of how to manage to, pay your bills and also be able to do all the rest of the stuff you want to do. Now you also do compose, right? You also write music. I can't remember.
Yeah, yeah, I do. Most of my compositions now are like commissions, so for like school bands and things like that. Um, because I love arranging, because I love being able to take a song that I heard and that I connect with, and I can hear the way I would want to sing it, and then I get to figure that out, whether it's like a small band or a big band.
Yeah.
Um, and that's just like one of my favorite. I mean, writing songs are like super fun too, but I just don't do that much more than I do like
Arranging.
arranging. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally understand. And so what do you find is kind of the here's something that I often think about and I kind of deal with going from here's an example. I sing with a lot of singers and the singers who sing with the Outrageous who come and guest with the Outrageous Eight sometimes are from different size bands. In other words, some of them
Oh.
are only used to singing with a piano. Some of them are used to only sing with a
Oh.
trio.
I
And
see what you're saying. Okay.
I'm just curious what's your take on how you sing differently or how you approach
Mm.
differently. I mean, I know I have a way of doing it, but I'm curious what your way of doing it is between singing with a trio and singing with an 18-piece band. Obviously, there is a huge difference as
Right. um. Yeah. Great question. Definitely. I think even a lot of it is subconscious for me.
a
Like if I'm singing with a trio or like a duo, it's just so much more intimate.
Mhm,
Even if we are doing something like funky or like upswing or something, it's just a completely different feel. One of the things I remember, I think I was a sophomore in college, and the director of the jazz band at the time, it was my first time singing with a big band, and it was just in rehearsal, and we go through a song, and then he goes, he's like, I feel like you're pushing too much. And I was like, because sometimes when you're singing, you're not necessarily thinking, especially at that age, you're not really thinking a lot about things
yeah.
other than like, I hope I get this melody right, And so I was like, interesting. He's like, yeah. He's like, if you need to turn up, then you turn up. And he's like, but you need to sing the way you would sing it with, like you said, like a small band, and trust. He's like, because the power of like a bigger band just automatically makes you want to push
Right.
because there's so much sound.
Hmm.
Even if they're playing quietly, there's still so much more sound than like a trio. So
Hmm.
that was one of the best pieces of advice I've ever had, because I became so much more aware of the way I was singing.
Hmm.
So when I do gigs, like, we really right now only really play at the Baked Potato, and
Hmm.
so they know my sound, and so I never have to like tell them. But if I play other places and I'm not happy with my sound,
Hmm.
I have to tell them, because I'm not going to spend 2 sets yelling, not
Yeah.
yelling, but pushing my voice
Yeah.
too much.
Hmm.
So for me, I really think of it as trying to sing it in the same exact place that I would sing it with a trio,
Hmm.
and just trusting that the sound will be fixed or done by someone that's actually doing sound. Because for me, even small band stuff, sometimes I've done gigs where I'm not in charge of my sound, and it's like a quartet, and like they have someone in back doing it, and I have to be like, I need a little bit more, because I'm just not going to sing past this.
Yeah.
And then of course, singers like us that have done it for a while, we have mic control, so we'll, but I think a lot of that too is important, because with big band, if you're like singing in a shout section or something,
Hmm.
and you're this close to the mic, that's a whole thing too. So for
Yeah.
me, I really don't think of singing differently. I just think of being aware of, can I hear myself well while still connecting with
Hmm.
the band?
Yeah.
And it's equally hard, I feel, for bigger band musicians to be able to hear, to be aware of that as well.
Yeah.
Or even like rhythm section. It's like, I never like to play with loud drummers or loud guitar players, because why are we doing that here?
Yeah.
Things like that. So for me, yeah, sorry for the long answer, but
No, no, that was a
yeah,
perfect answer.
but I just don't think of it differently, because I feel like if I do, then I'm not being my like honest voice all the time.
Yeah.
if
I
that makes
get
sense.
that. No, it totally makes sense to me. I always tell people the only advice I ever give to people who are singing with big bands is big band music is actually written to if you think of the if you listen to the old arrangements, okay, like the Frank Sinatra arrangements and stuff like that,
Yes. Yes.
they always built a window
Mm.
into the instrumental part of it to allow the vocal.
Yep.
Don't sing when the other instruments are playing.
Yep. Yep.
They built a little,
Yep.
and you have to sing right there.
Uh-huh.
And so it's really funny because I'll
Mm.
see people, and I can't hear a thing because the trumpets are playing or whatever.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah.
You have to thread the needle where the vocal fits into the big,
Mm.
it's a big collaboration. So
Totally.
yeah, you have to really find your little spot.
Mm.
And unfortunately, and I would say it's interesting, I think that big band in a way vocally is more limiting because you really can't vary it too much from that spot,
Mm.
or you won't get
Yeah, unless you're Sarah Vaughan or something.
you won't get heard.
We're not all.
I bet they played quietly for Sarah Vaughan. I'm guessing.
Well, I mean, even her album with the Count Basie Orchestra,
Yeah.
that's the one thing I love about her is like when she sang with bigger ensembles, whether it was a big band or I don't know if you heard the Gershwin
I think I
album, like the orchestra, like it's like she sings as if she's singing with a trio, and I'm
right.
like, I'm like, okay,
No,
all
that's
right,
incredible
Sarah.
technique, right? Yeah, it really is.
It's just crazy. Yeah, it's. But you're right. Yeah, it's more limiting because it's an arrangement
Yes.
as opposed to like, oh, we're just counting off a tune and
Yeah.
playing the thing together. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's very planned. It's funny because people come and see, like ours is all charted too, because it's five horns, right? So with our octet,
Mm.
and people come and they think, oh, you guys just walked in and just started reading charts. It's like, oh,
Oh,
I
yes, that's
wish,
what's happening. Yeah.
I wish it was that easy. Um, that's amazing. Yeah, I love that advice that you try not to push because of the room the room volume.
Yeah, there's just so much adrenaline, and excitement of like,
Yeah.
wow, all this sound. And so it's just really easy to just want to naturally push your voice rather than, no, no,
Yeah,
sing it,
easy.
sing it where you want to sing it, where it's good and healthy, and everything else will go around that.
Sort itself out. Yeah.
Hmm.
I think that's great advice. Okay. And so when you're teaching vocalists, who come in and you do, what classes do you teach like this part of the year? Are you, no, you're not back in class yet, right?
No, for me, my first thing back is in a little less than 2 weeks. So at Cal State Fullerton, I direct like two vocal jazz groups, ensembles, and then I'm kind of head of and when I say head of, it's not full time, head of the vocal jazz department, which just started last year. So they've had an instrumental one for a long time. So I did that. I've done that for 3 years. Saddleback College, I've been at on and off, honestly, for 11 years, and now teach jazz and a couple commercial voice students. Um, Fullerton College, I've been at the longest. That one I think I've been at since 2013. And Jamie Shue is a great friend, and I would say she's also like a mentor for me. Voice lessons, and last year she was on sabbatical all year, so I uh, directed her two groups there,
Oh,
and
got it.
and helped direct the vocal jazz applied vocal jazz program when she was gone. And then I'm just starting at Long Beach City College now this semester.
I remember seeing that you were
Yeah.
starting a new play, a new at a new place.
Which, speaking of it's who Andrea Calderwood is so amazing, and I've known her for a long time, and she is the one that asked me to apply to do
Hmm.
this, and then my interview though was right in the middle of me having no voice.
Oh
And
God.
with any of these, you're supposed to do some kind of performance. So, hey, we just want to see you play and sing a tune, do some scatting, whatever. So I texted her the day before and I said, just to let you know, my voice is not, I don't know if and she's like, okay. She's like, I'm sure it'll be fine. And I show up and they could hear, I mean, you could hear it in my voice. I could talk, but they could tell.
Yeah.
And so they're like, okay, well, Andrea's like, well, why don't you just play and I'll sing so they can see. And I was like, great. So I accompanied her on a tune, and then she looks at me. She's like, "You want to try scatting?" And like literally one note came out,
Oh
and they were
no.
like, "It's fine." But then I still got the gig
I love it.
because, again, we're good friends,
Yeah.
and I have experience and all that stuff. But again, just a good example of it's who you know, because I didn't know any of the other three people on on the panel until that
Right.
morning. So
Yeah.
they didn't know if I was like a serial killer or if I was actually terrible at my job, So,
Right.
but they trusted Andrea. So
She knew.
yeah,
Oh,
because you knew.
thank God for that. I love that. Well, that's a success story. It truly is. And like you say, relationships, right? She trusted that that particular day you were off. I mean, that's the good thing about your voice, I feel, is you take it everywhere you go. You don't need an instrument
True.
case. You don't need a
That's so
reed.
true.
You don't need anything. And you can
Mm,
rehearse while you're driving, which is such a
that is
blessing.
a really good point.
And the bad thing about it to me is that, it is only it is part of the whole thing. And I would say that vocals in general are fairly unpredictable. Like you have to have a
Mm,
plan and then kind of a backup plan and then a backup plan to that backup plan. Because there are a lot of, I think, elements that go into our vocal cords working,
mm.
including the environment and wind and allergies and there's all kinds of things
Oh,
that kind of go
yeah.
into it. And I think that's not really so much true of other instruments. And so,
Mm,
it's an interesting thing to have it be kind of kind of whimsical.
yeah,
You know
totally.
what I mean?
Yep.
It's interesting psychologically that like one day you wake up and you're like trying to sing the song and you're like, wow, that is not going to work today. What am I going to do? And you have to come up with some other plan. Um,
Yeah, that's a good point. I talk to my students about that all the time. I'm like, one, your voice is different every day.
yeah.
Like today, it might feel like the best it's been, and then tomorrow you might wake up and go, "Hmm,
Yeah.
that's different than it was yesterday,"
Something
and you just have
new.
to adjust. Or like we were talking earlier, if you have a gig and you're kind of maybe dealing with sickness of some sort, or your
Yeah.
throat is not like, how are you going to sing differently but still sound good?
Yeah.
But also not hurt your voice if it's like, let's say you're starting the sore throat but you have a gig tonight,
Yeah.
so, and you can't sub it out because you need the money,
Yeah.
so it's like, how are you gonna sing different? And they don't really, I think when some singers are starting out, they don't really think about that, um because they haven't done that enough yet. And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
you'll figure it out as you go on, but for you have to figure out what you like, how you can change things to make it still work.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
because
And it's
yeah.
funny because all the years that I mean our band has been together for 10 years and all the
Mm-hmm.
years that I've sung with the band, I mean there's been plenty of times when I've gone to a gig and I'm like, okay, my
Right.
voice is it's not working today.
Right.
And but to not pull your performance so much that it's not satisfying for
Right.
everybody, right?
Right.
That's the key is still I guess what I'm trying to say in a short form is don't panic, right?
No, that's gonna make it worse. Yeah.
Realize that you can bring some emotion. I mean, for me, and I was talking to someone about this the other
Mm-hmm.
day, all music and things creative are about an emotional experience
Mm-hmm.
for my
Totally.
money. And so you can bring that, whether your voice
Mm.
will hit those American Idol notes or
Right.
not. That actually is not, to me, is not the point. The point really is to
Yeah.
bring some content to it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that is just about being really present, right? And also knowing
Mm-hmm.
what you're singing about. For me, I'm a big because I was an actor during a portion of my life. I'm a big
Oh.
proponent of the emotional content of a song. Like if I don't know what I'm singing about, I really can't sing a song.
Yep. Yep.
What's your thought on in that area?
Oh, 1,000%. I remember Kristen Korb in one of our first lessons. I sang through the song and she's like, okay. She's like, so you know the melody. She's like, what's the song about? And then of course, like any 19-year-old, whatever, I was like, oh, it's about love. And she's like, okay, well, most songs are about love, but what's it about? And I was just like, what do you mean?
Panic.
And then, and then she was like, well, how do you connect with it like right now, in your life? And I mean, at the time I was probably going through something with a boy, and I just like started crying and I didn't really even know.
Yeah.
what was happening. I was like, what is good? And then she, of course, just sat there and was just like, it's okay. She's like, take your time. And then from then on, it just like clicked. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, and honestly, that's around the time I was like arranging stuff too, because I learned like, oh, well, if I connect with this song, then I can figure out how I want to hear it slash sing it.
Right.
And so I tell my students that all the time. I'm like, if like you need, like, you might sound good. I
Hmm.
said, but we're in LA. Many people sound good,
Correct.
like so many people. But there's a difference between just sounding good and making someone feel something. And I was like, an audience member that maybe does not know you at all, they
Right.
want to show up and feel something, whether they know that or not. That's what they want. And
Hmm.
that's what should happen. And if you just go up there and sound good, yeah, I mean, they might feel good, but is that really going to like reach them,
Yeah.
you know? And so I 100% agree with that. Like, it's just, you can't, whether you're playing an instrument or singing, it's like people can tell the difference, you know?
They can. That's what's really interesting about it. I think they really can tell the difference. And it is such an, it's not something grounded in reality, really. It's just you
Mm,
bringing your heart to things and being very vulnerable. And a lot of people don't want to do that. Understand?
totally.
So it is exhausting, to be honest. To
Yeah.
really be present is really exhausting. But it's also satisfying, right? Because you can feel when the audience is connected with you. It's
Oh, yeah.
like you have put, the round thing in the round hole. It's like it
Yeah,
all.
exactly. Exactly. Yes.
And
Yes.
speaking of that, so you guys play at the Big Potato. First of
Mhm.
all, let me tell the audience, when are you playing next at the Big Potato?
Don't know yet.
Okay.
I usually find out maybe like a month or so beforehand.
All right.
so,
Okay.
but we usually do one around March.
Okay.
My birthday's March 24th, so we usually do something. But this year, I think we're actually going to be doing a gig at the Burbank Music Academy,
Oh, okay.
um, on March 22nd. I think it's going to be part of like a grant, so
Gotcha.
which is great. So we always do our Christmas thing like beginning of December at the Big Potato, and then usually during the summer. So as of right now, not quite sure on a date yet.
Okay. Well, I think that's good enough. People can check the schedule in March and see what you're doing, and then also look for the March 22nd. Uh,
Yeah.
so I'm also March baby. I'm March 13th. Um,
Oh.
and so tell me about putting together your big band and how that all come about.
So I graduated from APU from undergrad in 2008, and then I had to be in school part time to stay on my mom's health insurance.
Mm.
And so, living in Laguna Niguel, I was like, okay, what's close? And Saddleback College, and
Right.
I had never heard of Joey Sellers. And I just looked online and I was like, wow, they have a lot of jazz classes. I was like, this is
Yeah.
kind of crazy. So I signed up for, I think it was like lab band, which is kind of like the big band a lot of schools have where you don't know what you're going to get every semester.
Right.
And Joey, being an arranger, he would just arrange things for that specific group of people every
Right.
semester. So I did that. I saw that they had a big band Wednesday night, so I was like, okay, I'll sign up for that. There was a jazz arranging class,
Mhm.
and then I think I signed up for one more. But I showed up, and I didn't realize you had to like audition
Oh.
to sing in like the big band or whatever, and I was like,
Right. Oh.
okay. So I did, and I was singing with the lab band, and then his arranging class. So he only teaches big band arranging in that class like
Okay.
once every other year.
Oh.
So I was lucky enough to be in that class that semester,
Okay.
and he had us go through. I don't know if I have it with me. It's a small to big band jazz arranging by Gary Lindsay, who
Okay.
taught at Miami.
Yeah.
The best book I have ever
Oh, okay. So pay attention,
read.
everybody.
It literally goes through like rhythm section writing, so how to write for drums, how to write for bass, all this stuff, to horn section writing, so like a sax solis, I mean, teaches you about transpositions, ranges, literally all the way through. And then the final project for that class was to write a big band arrangement.
God.
So, so I wrote my first one for the big band there,
Yeah.
and Joey was like, she has something, like she can do this, you know. And then he basically like mentored me in that for a couple years, and then I went back to APU because it was free for my
Yeah.
master's.
Uh,
And my friend and I, he's a great bass player, we convinced our director of jazz to let us take lessons from John DeVersa because he was at Northridge at the time.
okay, got it.
And so we, for our second year of grad school, we would carpool out there every Monday and
Gotcha.
take lessons. So he was also a huge part. He also worked with me a lot on like composition. So not even necessarily for a big band.
Right.
And then I was lucky enough at Saddleback and at APU to utilize the big bands there and like bring in stuff I was working on.
Right, which is
And also even get my stuff performed. Not every school is like open to that. So I got to do that a lot. And then I got to a point where I had enough songs and people were like, oh, you should record an album. And I was like, okay. So we raised some money and did our first recording 2013, I think. And yeah. And then after that, you know, since we had recordings, then I could start. And then I met Justin Randy at the Baked Potato so I met John DeVersa through Joey Sellers, and then I met Justin through John.
right.
And you know, and then that's kind of how it went. And then also we used to play at the Blue Whale, which hopefully will be back soon.
I was gonna say, when is that coming back? That seems like it's on the way.
We don't know yet. I don't know if there's even a specific date. I know that, I mean, a lot of that stuff like takes so much longer than you think it's going to in terms of getting, yeah. So hopefully soon.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then that's, you know, and then we've played at a couple other places like Campus Jacks and played at Vibratos and, you know, all that stuff. But yeah, but it really just came out of like, again, lucky happenstance, really. And then Joey is still one of my mentors and like one of my great friends. So, you know,
And having those relationships with those people that you've run into and being teachable, right? Like I think that's a huge aspect of all of what you're talking about is being very teachable.
Yes,
Because
exactly.
there's so much to learn, in all of the legendary people who have made it, and who, were in the era when big bands were, so there were so many of them. It was
Oh,
crazy.
totally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How amazing. What an amazing story you have. Like I say, I am your biggest fan. I
Oh,
follow
thank
you closely on social media. I can't wait to hear your stuff when it comes out. And I mean, it's just been amazing talking to you in general. What's a single thing that you would tell someone who is young, who's wanting to do music for a living? What would you say to a kid who's like 17 years old? Who wants to do music in their future?
Just be open, because you just never know. Because if you want to do music,
Yeah.
it'll happen for you. If you're like,
That-
if you work hard, if you present yourself. Because again, I didn't even know that I would be good at teaching or wanted. My mom was a first grade teacher for 36 years.
Yeah.
So teaching for me was like I was not about it.
Yeah.
Outside of like, you know, studio lessons here and there. But then again, one of my professors in grad school, right when I graduated, said, "Oh, I'm leaving OSHA. Do you want to teach this arranging class and a combo?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Sure." Like,
Yes.
I need money, and I guess that'd be fun. And then ever since, again, that's like when the knowing people started in terms of getting all these teaching gigs.
Yeah.
And then I found out I loved it, thankfully, and that
Yeah.
I think I'm good at it. And so it just kind of went from there. So I was just always open to opportunities.
I love
was just
that.
always, I was just very,
I think that's a great summation
yeah. And then
of
of course, you know, as we get older, you start learning boundaries and you start learning things that you're like, I'm not open to that, you know,
Right.
or I was open to this 10 years ago, but I'm not. So I taught at OSHA for 3.5 years and it was a great experience. But then I learned by that point, college is where my passion is.
Got it.
And so I'm not going to teach high school and younger anymore. But when I was younger, I was like, I want, I'm going to get all this experience and learn. And then it just changed as I got older. So I was open to that change. And then something else, I'm sure 10 years in the future will come up,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so,
right, exactly. And to continue to be open, even
yeah,
though,
yeah.
yeah. All right, and then I always conclude our
Mhm.
little podcast. Thank you, first of all. Thank you so much for being my guest.
Thank you. You're so sweet. And this was fun to get to talk to you
An
finally.
absolute pleasure. Exactly. And then I ask everybody a final question, and I'm fascinated by the different answers. So you're
Ooh.
obviously a very ambitious person. You have a lot of energy, you have a lot of projects. What is your favorite way to switch off?
um, Crime shows and podcasts.
Oh, I love
It is absurd the amount of crime shows, whether they're documentaries or not, that I watch in general. Or I mean, like when I was sick this last month,
Yeah,
so many,
there was a lot.
so many. And I don't know if this makes me like a serial killer in a different life, but like I can listen and watch those things and not have any nightmares, not feel weird about it. It's just something that's like, I love it.
I love that. You know what? I have come up with a theory because it is a common thing for women to enjoy crime shows, and I've decided that it's the how not to. Because often,
Ooh,
because often women are the victims. So
that's a
it's like,
really good point. How
yeah,
not to.
how to not to. How to not have that happen to you. Well, thank you
That's
so much.
that's
You're amazing. I'm your hugest fan. I'm so, so glad you were able to talk with me today. And we'll do it again after you do a gig or something like that. And then you and I will talk offline about that
yes.
stuff
I would
maybe.
love to.
Okay? All right. Thank you everybody for joining us for Life of a Band Leader with Teryn Ré Carter. And we appreciate you being with us today. And we'll hopefully talk to you again soon. You take care.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Life as a Band Leader. We hope you had as much fun listening as we did making the music. If you loved what you heard, go ahead and hit follow, share it with a friend, and make sure to get tickets to the next show. Visit outrageous8.com for upcoming shows, music, and a little more band madness. Until next time, keep swinging, keep smiling, and keep the music alive.